Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Jaded Mechanic podcast. We're still here at ASTA 2025 in beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina. And I'm sitting here with a couple of friends of mine from our wonderful family at Promotive, Ethan and Stacey. How are you guys this morning?
Good.
Doing great.
Yeah.
They've got Starbucks in front of me, so they're on the same vein that I am. They need that caffeine first thing. Yeah, you're my people. When people come in with an energy drink, I'm like, what's wrong with you? You know. So this is obviously, Stacey, is this your first show?
Yes.
Okay, because I was going to say, because I was at Apex last year and saw Ethan, and I've seen you, several things, but you're a new face to me, so that's pretty cool.
I was at SEMA last year and just briefly spoke with you, but yeah, I kind of stayed behind the scenes for a while. SEMA
is a trip. That's an experience, right?
It is.
Goodness.
It's almost overwhelming.
That is the craziest show I've been to yet. I feel like you could just walk and then keep walking and then never see the end of it.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I don't think you go to SEMA and see all of SEMA in the 4 days that it runs there. I don't think that's even technically possible. No. Not to see, like, you could run by and glance at everything, but if you want to stop and talk to people. So I got to hang out at the Promotive booth last year at Apex and SEMA. That was pretty sweet. I like that. That was a lot of fun. So, but it's the same thing, like trying to get from one venue to the next and the shuttle and the Tesla loop. Did you do the Tesla loop when you were there?
I did.
You got to do that if you're going back in November. You got to do that.
What's the Tesla loop?
So it's essentially like all these Ubers that are outside of the convention center.
Okay.
And if you want to go from one side of the convention center to the other, instead of walking the 5 miles down the sidewalk, you go walk down the escalator, flight of stairs, and Elon has bored out all these tunnels underneath downtown Vegas, and they run only with Teslas. Oh. And literally, so they're all the roads or highway. It's essentially a highway. The cars are all driving themselves. Like there's somebody in the driver's seat, but the car is driving itself down through these roads.
Oh man!
So it's a trip if you're like just to see it. It's pretty cool.
We're gonna have to try that.
We saw the drifting event. We saw the Goo Goo Dolls. Yeah. That was kind of the highlight for me. But I didn't even know about the Tesla stuff.
Yeah, it's down below, and it's all free. Like you don't have to pay to get in there. So and I mean, it's just they're contracting Uber drivers with a Tesla to sit there all week and run people from wherever they want to go. A, B, C, D, and E. Yeah, it was pretty trippy because I spent more time in a Tesla seat last year than I have working as a mechanic because they don't come into a lot of the shops I work at. So yeah. Huh. So and what do you think?
Something new.
Yeah. What do you think of this event this year at our new? It's different.
Promotive started when Joelle Pollack and I were hanging out at an industry trade show, and we were talking about how shops have big challenges finding and retaining talent. And then we just started doing some research, who's out there helping shop owners with their recruiting process. A lot of shops have extensions of their team, whether it be a marketing person, an accountant, a lawyer. But when it comes to recruiting, they do it in-house. Doing in-house is great. As a business owner, I've done recruiting myself in-house too. But we realized there was a major opportunity to bring traditional corporate recruiting where you have, for a lack of a better term, a headhunter out there going out proactively, building relationships with candidates and selling them on why they should work for a certain company. We wanted to take that corporate recruiting model down to the automotive space and provide that infrastructure for them where they have somebody doing everything from start to finish, from designing the job ad to posting it to building the database to having that edification of saying, hey, we're out here vetting the shops or the clients that we work with, and we want to make sure that you find the perfect home, not just going out there and applying to jobs that you don't know how great they are. And when a shop tells you how great they are, it's different than another entity who's out there looking for your best interest to find the exact perfect home that checks all of your boxes. And in the ideal world, we can make this a match.com for technicians and shops where we have all the technicians' wants, desires, background, and all the shops' wants, desires, and background, and match everybody up together. And we just thought that was kind of cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This so far has been amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's still got kind of that tight knit feel, but it's also big enough to where you can meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
Event's been good. Location's great. Like, this is my first time in Raleigh.
Yeah.
My uncle lives up here, so I traveled from Denver, Colorado to get here. Long journey, but this place is beautiful. It's starting to get chilly up in Colorado.
Did you drive down?
Oh, no.
You flew?
No, I flew down.
Yeah.
I've made the drive. I'm good on that.
Yeah.
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 I would much prefer to drive, but I mean, like we were talking, it's a somebody said it's like an 18-hour drive to come from like where I would cross the border, say at New York, and then come down. It's an 18-hour drive, and I'm not ready to do that yet.
Yeah, that's too much.
That's too much.
That's a multi-day trip right there.
So tell me a little bit about what's new and exciting at Promotive.
There's so many great things
Yeah.
at Promotive. It's we've implemented a few programs to help enrich our shops, and we're really excited about where we're headed.
Hold the microphone. If you just pull the mic a little bit, there you go. Yeah.
Ah.
Now we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That beautiful voice right there.
Yeah, I hear. So we've implemented Paige.
Okay.
And Paige is our virtual recruiter, and she is pre-screening up to 50 candidates a week. And the crazy thing is, we have candidates talking to her for 10 minutes. The average is anywhere from 9 to 11 minutes that they're
Right.
talking, and they're like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And it's a virtual, but the great thing about it, it's 24/7 now. So we
Okay.
don't miss
Right.
that candidate, that fantastic candidate that
Yeah.
wants to come and find a new beginning.
That's awesome. AI is an amazing thing. It really is.
Yeah.
And
it's going to get crazier. I think like the big benefit of using this is obviously we're not missing anybody, but
Yeah.
our recruiters can pick up where the AI left off.
Yep.
And they can fill in the gap. So it's speeding them up. It's making us more efficient.
Yeah.
It just kind of helps out all around. So
Yeah.
it's exciting.
And I am assuming the response to Paige has all been pretty positive so far.
It has.
Yeah.
It has. We find that maybe they apply at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
They get a text of, contact Paige, and she rolls right into it. So it's at their convenience that we're able to get a pre-screen in. So super excited.
There's lots of mechanics, I hate to say that, at 3 a.m. that are awake thinking about, making a change. It's crazy, right? But that's sometimes what happens. It's just the way it is. So, yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, and
Very
we don't
cool.
want to lose them. We don't want them to
No.
think that we can't help them out.
Yeah. Yeah. Promotive I think is such a powerful tool because of what you guys do. You know what I mean? Like it's especially for the technicians. Like I'm starting to see a lot more techs that in order to find the workplace that they want to be, they're moving farther away. It's not just like you can throw it. It isn't like the 60s where you could go around the corner and get another job at another shop and they're all pretty much the same.
TechMetric is the all-in-one software solution for auto shops. It can do just about anything.
How can I build trust with customers?
How much? TechMetric can do that.
How can I do an inspection faster?
TechMetric can do that.
How can I make this as painless as possible?
TechMetric can do that.
How can I run my shop from anywhere?
TechMetric can do that.
Can I just pay for my repair from my phone?
TechMetric can do that.
How can I be a better man?
You could try putting your crap away, Dennis.
Sometimes you just need to put your crap away. But for shop productivity, increased revenue, and a better customer experience, TechMetric can do that.
As the landscape is getting wider in terms of varying levels of what you want to do in this industry or the technology you want to be exposed to, some people are moving states, away. And that's a big commitment and a big change. And I think it's pretty cool that something exists now that if you want to, I want to find a job in North Carolina. The old ways is you kind of had to get to know somebody on Facebook, and then maybe the interest was there that you would think about trying a working interview or whatever, come down. Now, Promotive is like, if you're willing to move, we can help you out,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful.
We just had a gentleman relocate from, I believe, the West Coast to North Dakota.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had him relocate across the country from Alabama to Reno. It's crazy to me, the amount of people that are willing. And what I find is if their kids have just graduated and they're ready to spread their wings and go to the place they've always wanted to work at, and we find them a great job, and the benefits that some of these shops offer are second to none. So, these shops are aggressive and they want quality techs, and they're willing to take care of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are the shops we want to represent.
Yeah. And I think that's, and there's no, there always are, people that think you're going to fit. It's just like a relationship. You go on a couple dates and then all of a sudden you realize, like, I can't see myself spending, years with you. So I move on to the next thing. And unfortunately, sometimes jobs are like that. I can tell you I've moved around a lot in the last 3 years, and it's a personality thing more than anything else. It's just like we don't click on where you see me and I see myself going, right? And that's totally fine. It's just that it's pretty cool that, okay, Promotive doesn't immediately drop me because that relationship didn't, work out. They just we continue the relationship with Promotive. I think that's awesome,
We really push the culture of the shop. So when we're working with the shop owner and we do an intake call, we dive deep into what their culture is, their expectations of, do they expect ongoing training? I have some shops that insist upon so many hours a month. They insist upon traveling to SEMA or Vision or whatever it may be so they can learn and grow. And there's people out there that don't want to do that, and that's okay. But that's the requirement of a certain shop. And so I stress to the shop owner, even though they're not a good fit for you, did they show up on time? Were they professional? Were they,
did they fix the car?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And so let's get them into a place that they feel good about what they're doing.
Yeah. And because I think it's important for you guys to stay neutral.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the time, if you're talking to shop owner after shop owner after shop owner, and I hear it all the time. Like, in my channels, the shop owners are like, "There's no good techs out there," and I talk to a lot of technicians who are like, I can't find a shop that is worth rolling my toolbox into. So I mean, it's on both sides, right? It's not a situation of like we're trying to pit each other, in a battle royal. It's a situation of, it's like, what do you need me to bring to you? Cool, okay, I need you to bring competency. I need you to bring reliability. I don't want you to be missing a day of work every week because you're sick with something. All of those kind of things. And in turn, if I'm going to work for you, and you're going to task me with relatively new cars to fix and stuff, I need training. And and at the training, if you want to send me, 5 hours after work to train, I want some pay for that, because otherwise I could be with my family. This is what a lot of technicians tell me is, why don't you train? I want to spend time with my family. Okay, cool. Totally get that. So it's part of them. If you're going to send them to training, pay them for the training, let them have that 5 hours towards some holiday pay, that kind of thing, time off, like all that stuff. We have to be more flexible in this industry now, because it's becoming flexible what it takes to do this business. So we as people need to be flexible. I need to be better, more rounded on as of my skill set, and in turn you have to be a little more understanding that, like, we're willing to meet you halfway, but you have to, the way that you used to expect everything, you're just going to do it. They're not interested in that anymore. You know what I mean? We understand the relationship, but we talk about team, but a lot of people don't really know what that truly means, And I think that's where, again, what I like about you guys is you're really qualifying the shops. That's important,
Well, I think honestly it's both sides. So Promotive obviously got started to help technicians, right? Keep them in the industry, because there's not a lot of young guys coming in. A lot of the older guys are leaving.
Yeah.
But it's also on the shop side. So a lot of people come to me because I'm the only one that basically signs them on. I take them through our process.
Right.
And so I lay out the expectations, everything in between. And a lot of them don't know what to offer at all. And, I give them feedback on it in the moment. I tell them, your account manager, your point-to-point person, they give you pretty much everything you need. They guide you in the direction in order to get you what you're looking for. Sometimes it's a stretch. Some people can't make it happen, which is fine, right? We can deal with what we have to deal with. But it's also on the technician side, because a lot of them don't know what they're worth.
Yeah.
Like maybe they're really a rate A-level technician. They're getting paid super low. The culture is bad, but they don't have anywhere else to go.
That's right.
They talk to our recruiter, and then, oh my gosh, my eyes are opening.
Yeah.
So it's both sides. We're just kind of playing matchmaker.
Yeah. I get my phone, again, through my platform, my phone's blowing up with people. Like, I heard this episode, and, I'm working in a shop, and this is what I do all day long, and I'm only getting paid this amount.
Yeah.
And what should I do? Well, I don't know, right? Because I have to remember, and it's hard sometimes because I'm only talking to the technician. I'm not talking to the owner. We all have maybe an inflated idea about how really good we are, right? And that's fair. That's human nature. You don't want to beat yourself up and go, I always need to do better. But, when I talk to them, it's like, I kind of only know the local market, And if they say they can do these kind of jobs and are only getting paid, I go, well, you're underpaid for the market that I know of, but I don't know where else their market's like, right? And so it's blowing up all the time, and I'm like, what do I do? I realize right now, for every 5 technicians that are leaving the industry, there's only 1 coming in. Right now, every day, 5 leave, 1 comes in. So you're in a super high demand. So if you're not happy, don't just sit there and dwell on it. Reach out to somebody, Promotive, and say, hey, what can you help me? And they'll show you, like, there's other shops in your area. Wow, I didn't even know that shop was there. I remember, like, I tell the story. I remember seeing an ad, somebody contacted me, and I'm like, I didn't know shops in that area paid that well. Why? Because they don't always talk like, it was one of the highest paying people around. I didn't know that. And if you were to look at the facility, you would never assume that either. Yeah. That's the other ripple to this. Yeah. And from technicians, we're very visually oriented. So if it looks like you don't have high pay, we're not probably even going to bother. Appearance is if it looks like a junkyard, you're not going to work there. Simple.
I have a shop that actually offers the technicians and their family home doctor visits. Yeah. I mean, talk about thinking outside of the box. Yep. And I have shops that have side-by-sides, 4-wheelers, to where the guys can take it for the weekend and go have fun. I mean, They do stuff together. And I've had technicians leave those shops because they didn't think they deserved to be in that good of an environment.
Yeah.
That
wow
blows me away.
Yeah. We're still a very, how do I say it? It's almost like you went through trauma.
Yes.
And then you get into a situation, you're like, when's the ball going to drop? Yes. I can't believe that these shops exist, And they're out there. They're unicorns right now. And on both sides, there's same as I had talked to shop owners that are like, I hired this young person, and it is amazing how good they are, or it's amazing how dedicated they are, how reliable, what I can task them with, and I don't even have to hold their hand through it. They're just amazed. Yeah, because we have to step back sometimes and go, when we're in these groups and we're in these conversations, we're talking to 1% of the people. There are a lot of people don't even necessarily know the group is out there. So there's all kinds of people that are not the norm or the stereotype that we're not even reaching because they just are living their life, right? There's definitely the next Brian Pollock and all that, those amazing techs that I know, Brandon Steckler and keep working. There's the next ones are already in shop somewhere, and it's just how are we going to find them? Well, you have to make them aware of what you have to offer. And I think sometimes shop owners, for a long time, it was just like, well, I put an ad up. There's so much more to marketing yourself than just putting an ad up. Like you said, go back to like side-by-sides that you want to take home for a weekend. Here's a side-by-side. Stuff like that. Like, I'm at the point where it's like, if somebody was to say to me, we have 2 shop dogs in the shop, but like, I might work there for $1 less just because I get to pet 2 dogs all day long. Like, yeah, it's nice. You work at a shop that has 3 running around, and all of a sudden you go to one that doesn't. It's like, I really miss the dogs. It's just little things like that. Like, how are you about, lunch every Friday? Oh, I would love that.
We ask those questions.
Yeah.
I mean, I dive in and say, do you have lunch and learns? Do you bring vendors in to say, hey, if you do this one thing when you're doing brakes and calipers and everything, just to help, just one little thing to give them confidence. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And you brought up the pets, shops with cats, dogs.
Yeah.
Stacey has an interesting story from the other day.
I'd love to hear that.
So I went into a shop. The shop is amazing. They believe in training. The staff, you can feel the positive energy. You walk in, they had no idea who I was, beyond friendly. So the shop owner was taking me upstairs to his training room, and there was this cat, malnourished, laying on the steps. He had no idea where it came from. I'm now the proud owner of Beamer.
Very cool. Right on.
Yeah. So.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
But right thing to do, and he's a good cat. But getting back to the shops, the shop owners that understand that keep moving forward. Mm-hmm. And when we talk to shops and we bring up training, we bring up Are you clean and organized in your area? Do you have a clean parking lot? Do you have a place where they can sit down and have lunch? I mean, similar things like that. I don't think they understand that the techs are looking at this. And I mean, we have technicians that say, I don't need to train. I've been a technician for 20 years. And that person's kind of set in their ways to the point where how are they going to grow, and how are they going to grow with the shop?
Yeah. That's from the technician in the room, I can tell you that's a really, I'll say it's a really poor attitude. Yeah. I mean, there are people out there that can learn it as they go, and they don't necessarily need to invest all these hours in training to get the job done.
But how efficient are they?
Well, yeah. Now, and that's the whole thing with efficiency is it's like sometimes it's just, we were having a conversation about this yesterday. Sometimes the age-old technician, there's just an intuition factor that can save you a lot of time and you look very efficient. But when you're handed new technology that you've had no experience on, and you think, I don't need to train because I've been a technician for 20 years, guess what? That doesn't matter, because that new technology that you're faced with, I don't care how good your process is and everything, you have to learn how it works. And if you're learning how it works on the job, there's sometimes we just all end up doing that. But if you could have had the opportunity to learn how it was going to work before one lands in your bay, that's only to your advantage and your employers. So that's a caveat for shops that don't want to train their people in technical training. Come on. Wake up. And as your technician, when somebody offers you training, take the damn training, because it's only to your benefit. I look back in my career, and it's like the only thing I ever took from some of these jobs was what I learned while I was on the job, or what the training that I got, because it made me better for the next employer. I advocate for people having to move around, but think about it that way. Otherwise, you get stuck in that rut where, I've been a technician for 20 years. You might be the same technician that you were 10 years ago. You're just older and slower from a skill set and understanding and a knowledge set. Is that what we want? No, we don't. People that are hiring us don't want that. I don't want to bring them that. Yeah, training's valuable.
Yeah.
Really
well,
valuable.
I mean, whether you do it now or you do it later, everything's going to be evolving. You know, technology is going to get crazy, man. Wait till we have flying cars.
Well, it's yeah.
You know, you're going to have to do training at some point, otherwise you're not going to be able to work on anything.
If in 1985, when I was 10 years old, and somebody told me there was going to be a car that would drive itself by 2025, I'd have said you're crazy. Yeah. And yet, how many do we see now? All the time.
Yep.
It's go to like Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
I mean, probably every 5 cars there's a Tesla.
Yeah.
Right? It's insane. They're everywhere, and they're going to be gaining popularity as time goes on. It's just going to happen.
And 40 years was not overnight, but 40 years still feels like a blink when I think about, like, at 85, there's cars that can drive themselves. No, I'm not. I'm 10 years old. I'm smart enough to know that's never going to happen. And yet now when I'm in the industry, I go, that's perfectly viable. Yes. It's already happened. You know what I mean? It's cool. So, yeah, you cannot be the same tech you were 10 years ago and still think you demand the same value.
Yeah.
You can't. So, you want big money, bring big training, bring big ability, and it'll take care of itself. What does some of the things that when techs approach you and say, this is what I'm really looking for, it's not just about pay, is it, Ethan?
No, definitely not. Pay it's eye candy on all the job boards. You scroll down, you see the numbers, okay, X, all right, this one's in my range, right? They're looking for a lot more. Yeah. It's culture, it's cleanliness, especially with benefits. PTO is a big one.
Yeah.
Right. I think a lot of shops they don't know that they have to compete with the dealerships, right? Especially if you're looking for a technician, maybe they're not happy where they're at. The culture's changed, the ownership has changed, whatever it is. Those are the people that are good technicians, right? They've been working, they're up to date on all the skills. They're not going to leave a dealership to go have 1 week of PTO after a year of being there. Yeah. They've got 3 weeks built up. They've got a family at home. They've got vacations planned.
Yep.
They're just not going to do it.
Yep.
So like the health and medical and stuff like that, that's great to have, right? It's fantastic. Some of the times I'm speaking to shop owners, a lot of their technicians will have, they'll be on their wife's plan or something like that. So it doesn't really make sense for them.
Yeah.
The PTO though, that's directly for the technician. And so that's a big one. Pay is obviously big. What other ones are there, Stacey? What are the big ones?
So the training, it goes without saying, but then I have shops that do 4-day work weeks.
Yes.
And they will rotate it. Their shop will be open Monday through Friday, so they'll flex it to where the guys can do 4-day work weeks. That is huge, huge out there. Some shops close at noon on Friday to where they can start a weekend early. We have owners that will take their teams to different events, that sort of thing. But I think flexibility, I ask the question when I'm talking to shops, if you've got a tech that's kid is traveling baseball, I mean, there's just times you don't want them to miss that.
Yeah.
And they're pretty adamant about that. They're willing to work with them as long as the tech gives back what they're giving them.
Yeah, 100%. Like I had a great conversation, with Josh Barnell. And it was because Josh and I, from Limitless Leadership, we talked about how, like, a lot of technicians leave and pay isn't the number one thing they're looking for. And, of course, my comment thread blows up. It's certainly always about pay. No, man. I work for less money now than I did a year ago, and I'm in a happier place. Why? Because somebody is not, like, push, and I'm not watching the wheels fall off the wagon every day. You know what I mean? It's a little bit smaller operation. And it's like I stay in my lane and I let people do things. It doesn't like more and more is being put on me because they're not putting it where it should go. And that for me is a culture thing. And it's not that I wish any ill to them. It's just like you're not a good fit everywhere. And it's not about the money. I am, when you're young, yes, right? You want to get that nest egg started. You want to buy a house and have kids and all that kind of stuff. I'm 50. Like, I've already learned how to survive on what I have. I'm looking after my future. I don't need to $1 difference in pay.
Yeah.
An hour doesn't matter. Does not matter.
Yeah.
And people need to get past that. Like, if you can go to work and make a little bit less money, but you feel so, like, appreciated and so viable to the team and valuable, man, that is worth way more than I think a lot of us are even realizing now. And again, from the technician standpoint, some of us are so beat up with the culture that we've been exposed to that it's almost like you come out of those bad relationships and you get into the good one. You're like, I don't know what to do here. Like, and it'll happen, guys, like, and gals. Keep your head up. It will change for you. You just have to learn to trust again. That's the key thing.
A positive environment, not worrying if a wrench is going to be thrown across the room. Safety, the environment, the positive attitude, the driven personality, somebody who wants to laugh. I have shops that say we want them to be able to laugh with us.
Yeah.
You didn't get that feeling in other shops, but you can walk in as a consumer and feel the tension if the shop is not doing what they should be doing.
Yeah. I've seen technicians, and it's simple as, like, the music was very, very... I'm like that. If I'm working in a building and the music is very, very, very loud, and yet everybody's expecting me to be able to concentrate, I can't do that. And then it's like, so the technician may say, okay, I want to have headphones in or earbuds in. No, that's a safety thing. We don't allow that. Okay, all right. Like, so, and you know what it is? A lot of it is they play it up as it's a safety thing, but the reality is that they hate that they have to come up and tap somebody on the shoulder to get their attention. They feel like it's disrespectful. Meanwhile, that person may be on a certain part of the spectrum where, like I am, when it's very loud, noisy music, it's distracting for me from what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to get the job done. But other people, like, they thrive in that environment of loud and chaos. It just depends on who you are. But to say, no, you can't wear a headset while you work because, like, that's nuts, man. We have to learn to be a little more open-minded, Because I've seen techs that will quit over that. I don't like the music that's constantly playing here. I ain't working here, And again, not to show, to tell anybody how to run their business, but sometimes if the customer is walking through the back, like, it has to happen. They want to see the car, and I don't like the show and tell idea all the time. I think it's, but when they come in and they're hearing some really loud music and stuff, it's not necessarily saying the best thing about your business. It doesn't make the best image.
Yeah.
So, when somebody wants to have headphones in, because I think that's a better image. So.
Well, I think with Promotive, like, our goal is longevity with technicians.
Yeah.
Getting them in the shop is one thing. The stars have to align for most shop owners on their own just to get them in the door.
Yeah.
But once they're in, the real challenge kicks in of keeping them.
Yeah.
And, we obviously want them to be in the industry. We want them to be with the shop till they retire, ideally.
Yeah.
But if the culture is not there, they're not going to last.
Yep.
Plain and simple. You're only going to put up with something for so long, whether it's, the shop attitude, the music, stuff like that. If the culture is there, everything else can be where it needs to be. They'll be there for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why it's so important.
Can I ask you a question then? Because from my standpoint, I sometimes think about it, and maybe, you've never, but is there a point when you're looking at a shop and they're saying maybe they've been with you guys a couple months or whatever, a year or something, and they're like, every person that you've brought me seems to want to leave or doesn't last or doesn't work out. What's the earmarkers that maybe they are the problem and not the tech?
Those are tough conversations.
Right?
We're trying to change the industry. We're trying one shop at a time, one tech at a time, and just saying, look, you have to offer training.
Yeah.
You have to do this or you're going to lose the race, so to speak. I do have shops that are that way where constantly sending technician, they don't like them for whatever reason, or they get hired and they leave within a few months, and it's not the pay. It is truly, you get them on board with the pay. You try to explain, it's got to be a positive. It's got to be clean. It's got to be safe. You want your kids to be able to go in there. And so it is tough conversations. And some of them will take that advice and run with it. But it's really hard to change what they've been doing for 20 years. And it's not going to happen overnight. But it's a conversation that we have, every time we talk to them. Hey, did you do the training? Hey, did you? And, we're partners with them, but we also need to have a safe environment for our technicians.
Yeah. And there is a lot, that's just, I don't even think about that or touch on it enough, because it's just, it for me is like at my point in my career, there's no question about it. Like if it's just somebody says, go over there and do that. And I go, no, I'm not climbing above 10 feet without being tied off. You can call me a sissy all you want or whatever. I'm not a person that loves heights. So, I'm not going to get on a ladder and go up 18 feet in the air to change a light bulb fixture.
Yeah.
You get me a harness and strap me in and somebody sits there and holds a ladder. Yes, I'll do it. But just like I need that done real quick. This is where the safety thing comes in, is because we're always, when we're rushed, we're like, I need that done real quick. I need that done real quick. Jack that car up in a parking lot and get under there and do that part because we screwed up and we don't have a hoist to do it on. There's a whole other ripple there that comes into the fact of not just the efficiency of the job and the time and it's the safety side of it, because it's like, before you know it, he goes out there, or she, with just a jack and no jack stand, and something happens, heaven forbid, and somebody gets hurt.
Yes.
There's a local shop to me back home. So it's a truck shop, highway truck. Now they're having a really hard time hiring people, right? Really hard. So they've been hiring essentially what I call a 310S, which is an automotive technician where I come from, and they're trying to fill 310T spots. Well, they hire 310S, sign them up in the apprenticeship program, and they can now mentor and work there, and legally it's all good. Well, this young lady then starts doing air brakes on a truck. They involve removing the big brake chamber. She has not been shown all of the risks and inherent dangers that can come with that. And there's an accident happen, and she gets hit in the side of the head with an exploding air brake chamber.
Oh.
Now, she's going to be okay. She didn't die. But that's the kind of accident that kills a technician every year, that very scenario. Now, you can sit there and go, well, like, she's young. That happens, right? She hasn't been exposed to enough. But the reality is, somebody that shouldn't even be trying to, like, give her that job unless somebody is mentoring her right there going, whoa, stranger danger, watch out, And that's the kind of things that where we think about safety, we don't think about it till it's already after the effect. And we need to stop that. Whoa, I'm rushed, I need this done. It can be the same in the automotive space. You go out, no jack stand breaks, jack stand fails, somebody dies. Why? Because the part didn't show up on time or something like that. Safety, yeah, huge.
Well, you think about the hoses that are laying around on the ground and somebody's not paying attention, trips and goes. So I've been in shops for many, many years, and you see different things. some of it's out of your control. Some of it can't be helped. But just being cognizant of it, and you can see, I can give you examples of shops that have worked their way around it and understood the importance of safety. Yep. But we just want the technicians going in, when they leave at night, they felt like they made a difference.
Yes.
They felt like they contributed, and they felt like they were appreciated. We get those type of shops, we're gonna do everything we can to find them the right candidate.
And a clean shop is a safer shop.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
100%. Like I can remember if I worked next to a baymate and our hoist was there and they were not rolling their airline up that it was done. It was laying between the two hoists and I'm walking over their airline. It wasn't long before I would take their airline off and throw it in the trash can and say, you need to because I have to walk here too, and if you can't be bothered, it's just little things like that. And you go, you're being a jerk. I'm not being a jerk. Like, I don't need to trip and fall in that, because it's going to be at some point, I'm going to be looking over my shoulder talking to one person as I'm trying to get somewhere else, and you didn't roll it up, and I'm going to step on it and trip. And then what happened? So it's the little things, right? Like, it really is. What how do I say that? When a technician is coming to apply for a job, what advice can you give them on how to go about that process?
Be on time and show up.
Yeah. Is that still a big one? Because I know in past interviews I've had it where people are like, we have technicians and they go through the process and use Promotive, and we work to find them, and then they don't show up.
Yeah.
We've had it to where the recruiters have been talking to the candidate, driving to the interview, and then a half an hour later I get a call from the shop saying Joe never showed up.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go, Joe?
Yeah, what happened?
Right.
What happened, Joe? Part of me thinks they just get nervous about the interview. I mean, I've really changed my thought process on why people ghost. I think there's several key factors in it, but it's so disheartening because the shop owner clears their schedule to be able to talk to them, or the shop foreman, or whoever it may be,
yeah.
Especially if they're an A-level tech. They're super excited. They feel like, okay, this could be the guy or gal that's going to fit that need that I've had open for a while. And when they don't show, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Just like they don't understand. And so we try to get a hold of them afterwards, and a lot of times they'll give us a reason why they didn't show, but I think deep down they're just afraid to make a change.
Goes back to that, trauma.
Yes.
That trauma thing, right? Like, and for me, like, I'm not different, but I'm confident enough that, like, if I'm one out of where I am, there's no way I'm missing the appointment. Yeah. Like, and I'll challenge my listeners that maybe have ghosted. Like, don't do that, A, because you look like a schmuck. It's unprofessional. But B, like, you're just, if you needed to go back maybe later, maybe in 6 months' time, you really need to go, and they're still running an ad 6 months later, they're going to remember that you didn't bother to show up.
Oh, yeah.
And even if they give you a second chance, there's no second chance to make a first impression. They're immediately going to wonder for a long time, how reliable really are you?
Yeah. Well, I speak to a lot of shop owners, and I ask them, like, do you have a list of people that you've talked with in the past, whether it's through Indeed, do you have a bench being built, stuff like that?
Yeah.
A lot of them say, I have a list of people I would never want working in my shop.
Right.
Which I totally understand, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing that sticks, is the one that don't show up, they have a bad experience. In reality, maybe that did happen. Maybe one of those technicians didn't show up for an interview for something crazy. Maybe they're a good tech.
Yeah.
Good person, just had a bad day. And so I think using a company like Promotive, we keep up with them. We check in, we keep tabs. Things change over 2 years. A C tech could become an A tech.
Yeah.
Same thing. So, I mean, that's kind of where we come in, is we can help the shops. We utilize what they're doing on Indeed. We use their bench. We take them through our process, and then there's a little bit of a benefit there. So
yeah. I know it's funny in my realm, because I'm in a smaller little area, so we all talk, right? We all talk to the tool trucks. And you'll move, and the tool truck driver will tell you who filled your spot from where you were.
Yeah.
And you're like, and I mean, we all get to know each other from a reputation, but it's like, you think, oh, that's good for them that they managed to get that person because, like, that's a win. Or you just shake your head and go, that's not going to work. I just know. Because you know then exactly, like, if you've left that place, you know what they told them, and you know that person, that technician, they're like, they're not going to fit there. And the list, like you said, the technicians, some of them in my area, are known to the other shop owners of, like, I wouldn't hire that guy. And a lot of your resume, they look at it, and it's like, oh, you worked at John's. And they know John on a first-name basis. He's in the Napa program with them or something. They call up John and go, what was this technician really like? I've looked at his resume. What's he really like? He would come in 20 minutes late every morning. Super smart. Friday afternoons, I couldn't get any work done by him. That kind of stuff. And then that shop has to look at it and go, well, I might be an owner. And it's like, yeah, Friday afternoon, I'm in coast mode too. But supposed to start at 8, strolls in at 8:25, 8:15, 8:30. Like, yeah, it's not a good look for you. And people are becoming less tolerant of it. I joke. My mentor, one of the first ones I had, he never started at 8 o'clock ever. But if you needed him to be working there till 8 at night, he was there. But he never started on time. He's just one of those quirky people that, like, he didn't just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Could not do it.
Well, I was speaking with a shop owner yesterday. He's in California. I'm not going to say who or where, but same exact situation. He's a great shop, but 2 of his technicians showed up late. They took insanely long lunch breaks, and they'd come back in, and he'd confront them, and he was the bad guy.
Yeah.
The shop owner was the bad guy.
Yeah.
And so he dealt with it. He pushed it to the side, kind of shrugged it off for so long, and then now he made a decision on it. He's like, I've had enough of this. All right, let me go see what my options are. And there's a lot of options out there.
Sure.
It's good that there's automotive recruiting companies out there. We're not the only one. It is fairly new, though. Just in general, this idea of automotive recruiting, especially for a lot of older guys that are kind of, in their ways. They're happy with what they've been doing, like you said, for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Things are changing quick. You kind of got to hop on the bus before it takes off, kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, so when you see shop owners and they're like, I need a technician. So punctuality aside and reliability, what's the things that they're still asking, I really need somebody, him or her, to be really strong in what? Diag.
Very strong in diag.
Yeah.
And they want somebody to hit the ground running. They don't want to have to, if they have that position open where they've got an apprentice, great. They have people in place already that's going to help train them. But the majority of the shops are looking for somebody to hit the ground running that can be a decision maker. They don't need, hey, Ethan, can you come over here? I'm not quite sure. They want that person that can do that car from start to finish and just do it right the first time. Now, parts break, I get it. I understand all of that, and they are too, but they don't have time to hold hands with a technician. But diag is the first. Yeah. Constantly, I get that.
And I, as somebody that I did a large portion of my career, that's what I was good at, and what I focused on, and what I actually really enjoy doing. That's the challenge, right? I'm a big champion. I advocate for that all the time, that you have to be smart on that, because, and I'll meet shop owners who are like, listen, I do the diag. I just need them to bolt the parts on it, and all the bolts go tight. You know what I mean? They can't prevent stuff. Totally cool. I get it. But we're talking about a unicorn tech as an owner that's still in the building, and that's like they're handling it. These shops that are trying to hire diag techs, and I see it. Shops are like, I need a diag tech. What's your training budget last year? My what? Training budget? Like, I've been the diag guy, and I haven't gone to training in 5 years. Okay. But your guy that you're now, or gal that you're hiring as a diag tech, they want the training budget. They want to know, I'm expected to know this, because they're a bit nerdy, right? So they want to know the new technology, and they want to be trained on the new technology, and you go. So a lot of when I see that they want diag techs is they don't really know what they want. You know what I mean? Like, they want somebody that can do it, but they don't know how to attract it. They don't know how to cultivate it when it's there. They don't know how to look after it. It's like getting an animal or pet and not knowing how to feed that pet.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about the pay thing. The diag guys that I know, they only want to work certain pay plans.
And don't forget about the latest scan tools also.
That's
if
right.
they want a great, strong diag, they've got to have the tools to support it.
And the diag techs that are coming, a lot of them have some pretty expensive tooling of their own.
Yep.
And if they're going to bring it into your shop, you're going to have to pay for those tools to come in the shop. If you, for instance, we'll talk about this. If you are, I need a diag tech. And a lot of what we do in diag now is just software programming.
Yes.
If you're not equipped to do that, and they come in with that, whatever you thought you were going to offer as pay, probably put it up 25%. Because if they're going to bring those tools in that you don't have to provide, well, let's do the math real quick on what that tool's worth and all that jazz. It's going to cost you more. And if all of a sudden you go, I can't afford that, well, then what? You can't really afford to be doing diag in your shop because it's a package deal, right? They're going to come in and expect, I can fix this car if I have this tool. Oh, we don't have that tool. Oh, I have that tool. Do you think I'm just going to bring it in to help you out? Not really. That's not really what we're signing up for. It's not a partnership, right? It's a I work for you type of thing. We have a technician I just spoke to last night, and he wants to constantly, his shop is like, oh, we're going to send it to the dealer. We're going to send it to the dealer. We're going to send it to the dealer. Don't spend a lot of time on this. Don't spend a lot of time on that. He's now starting to, where I'll be frank, the shop that he works in is under $100 an hour, and there's no service information system in the shop. No Identifix, no Pro Demand, no All Data, no nothing.
Did they still write on paper?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm not trying to run this shop down, but here's the thing. We have a young person who's a very competent young person in terms of getting the parts on a car in a really timely manner. They're good. Now, they want to grow and not see so many cars go to the dealer. Because that's, after a while, it's like, that car left, I never knew what fixed it. Because the customer doesn't call you up and go, hey, it went to the dealer, and the dealer did this, my car's fixed. They don't bother to fill you in on that. You just might see the car 6 months from now for a set of tires or brakes or whatever. If you should be able to retain that customer back, that's a whole other conversation. So when we're not, like, investing in the true diag sense of the word, what they need, you really don't need a diag tech. You need probably another B tech, and you stay in your lane as a shop owner. And you go, what does he mean as stay in my lane? Stick to what you're good at. Tires, brakes, wheel alignments and stuff. Don't get into the diag thing. Because the diag guy or gal is a different kind of animal and will bring a different skill set. And the way we pay them, the way we treat them, is going to be slightly different. So people that are listening, I want a diag tech. I know you do. Everybody wants one.
Everyone.
But when I go and interview for one and I go, they go, you want to get paid how much? That. Not flat rate? Nope. Well, are you that good? Yeah, I am. Okay. Or, that's not going to work for me. You have to be flexible, right? And it might mean bringing in a second-tiered labor rate, so that when I'm doing diag versus nuts and bolts kind of stuff, I have to charge more, frankly, because I'm paying that unicorn right there to get the job done. We got to be willing to bend,
Yeah, and some shops they just don't know. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to bring on, what's going to fit their shop the best. And so it takes time. Like, they'll come to me, I need a diag tech. It's 90% of my conversations.
Wow.
Yeah, I
didn't think it would be that high.
It's that high. It's that high. And sometimes they give it a couple of weeks. They sit down, they think about it, they talk it over with their wife, they get back to me. I actually need a B tech. And so great for them for figuring that out on their own. But when you talk to your account manager, this is something that we run through, right? We make sure everything aligns. If you need feedback on what to offer, who to bring on, maybe we'll go in this direction versus that. We're great for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The account manager, Stacey, one of them, she kind of works central part of the United States. She works with a lot of shops, a lot of good shops. And so she's kind of seen what works for some people, what doesn't really work, where this needs to be versus that. And so that's where the benefit of having her being your account manager is she can give you guidance on that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that we do, we say pivot a lot, but when we meet the shop initially, they tell us what they're looking for. They give us the whole rundown. I want 5 years experience of this. I want 3 years of that. They give me the whole rundown. Fantastic. Get the job posted. Couple weeks go by or however long it is, we send them candidates. No, that's not what I'm wanting. No, that's not what I'm wanting. The thing I stress to them is, okay, let's go back and look at what you originally wanted.
Mm-hmm.
That was your baseline. That's what you thought. Well, now that you've interviewed those type of candidates, that's not what you're wanting. Let's change it up. Let's get it back. Okay, maybe I only wanted this, this, and this. Fantastic. We're going to change it immediately, and let's start getting those candidates into you. Because a lot of them think they want this when they really need that.
Yeah. And that's the big conversation because I want to stay neutral between the techs and the shop owners. I want to be able to show both sides and perspective of what they really need. But a lot of that is even tough too, because it's just like saying to that technician over there, I understand you struggle with this, but I need you to be better at it. Well, when the shop owner, it's like, I understand that you want to go here, but you can't go here yet because you just like, you need people to go there. And when you bring those people on, they'll help you get there for sure. That's a tech's job, is to help a shop profit and flourish and grow. That's ultimately your job. Fix the car and help the shop owner hit their goals. But it's the flexibility side on the owner. The leadership role now falls into place where you have to really then make the harder choices. And I think it's just the way it's going to be, right? I'm not saying shop owners can't go out in the bay and get the car fixed. I know they can. But if you need somebody that like has a skill set that you don't have, and you need them to go out into the bay and fix the car, they are going to cost money, and they're going to cost time, and it just takes time. There's nothing more frustrating. I talk to a lot of diag techs. I'm one. And they go, I can only sell her on an hour diag. That's not feasible anymore. Like there's a European car that got towed in. It's got 20 codes on and 4 different warning lights. That's not an hour. That's a 4-hour process. Well, they can't afford it. Okay. So you believe that? No problem. That's fine. But here's the reality. Like, that diag tech is the type of person that doesn't want to see half a job done.
Yes.
So if you say to them, I just want half a job done, they're like, I thought I was here to fix cars. Because in our crazy brain, leaving with one warning light on isn't a complete job. I took a car that didn't run and it leaves with the ABS light on. In my mind, I fixed what the customer wanted, but I'm still dissatisfied because the car's not going out to the standard that I wanted to go out at. This is the kind of, when we hire these people, be prepared for some of that. If you're a shop owner and you're okay with that, think about what you're trying to really offer and be honest with yourself about who then you need. It's tough. It really is. Like, I feel for both sides. I really do, because I understand, but it's the conversations we're going to have, Diag is a slippery slope. It doesn't fall, I believe, in the same kind of metrics and scalable as just an oil change, a tire shop. It doesn't work. You have to be much more flexible, and you have to be. That's where the advisor side of things becomes very important, because they have to have those tough conversations. That it's like, your BMW has been to 3 other shops, including the dealer, and it's still broken. I've got somebody that can fix your car 100%. But here's, like, are you really committed to this? Because that person will need this amount of time. That will cost you this amount of dollars. Do you really want to go with that? Yes? Cool, let's start. No? Okay, have that hard conversation. You can't just treat it like another job and go up there and go, yep, okay, Mrs. Smith, we'll start now. Our labor rate's $150 an hour. We're going to start at 1 hour, and then we're going to call you. That don't work. It does not work.
They need to ask the question, how long are you planning on keeping your investment?
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to dump the car and move on the car in 6 months, their mindset is completely different than, I want to keep it for another 5 years.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yes. Yeah.
Asking questions.
Yeah.
I'm good for that.
That just happened to me the other day, like a couple months ago. My 2014 Ford Focus.
Okay, congrats.
Yeah. Well, no, not in this situation. It had a transmission issue, and I've had this for.
I'll try to not look so shocked, because I mean they are very problematic.
Oh, that's good to know before I bought it. That's great. No, that's great. Either way, no. A couple months ago, I had transmission issue, and I'm gonna have this car for a couple more years. And the guy asked me that at the front, the front counter. He's like, "Well, what are you planning on doing with this car? It's only worth probably $10,000 right now if I were to resell it." And the transmission repair was $3,000.
Yes.
Right? And so I made that purchase because, well, he asked me that question first off, and I realized I'm not going to go out and buy a new car right now. I love this car.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a pretty big question right there. Yeah.
And we can't assume that the customer is only going to want. We could have a whole nother episode on this whole thing. But Who are they mad at if they're on a highway, broke down, no air conditioning with their wife and kids? Who are they mad at?
They're mad at the last person who worked on that car.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Even if you did brakes on it,
Yes.
and the AC is sitting there on the side of the road not working, they're mad at you.
Yes.
Right? Because that used to drive me crazy. And now I realize that to them the car is the car. They don't understand the different systems in the car and how they can be related to one another. And I don't expect them to. Right? But it's where instead of being like, what are you, stupid? I can't mess up your air conditioning by fixing your brakes. We have to go, unfortunately, I'm sorry that this has happened. We would not have caused this. What can I do to help you, get back on the road, get back in here? What do you need me to do? That's how you start that conversation, right? And that's where an advisor is so pivotal. Let's kind of shift here. You can place advisors as well in shops, right?
Yep. Yes.
How does that go? I'm assuming it's a different kind of conversation than trying to find a tech.
It is. It's very much different. They're looking for that salesperson. They're looking for the people person, the bubbly personality, the person that can make eye contact, the person that is just excited to see them walking in the door. And I understand we're not going to do that. That person's difficult to find, but you want them to the customer to feel warm and so glad they came in because they're there for a reason and they're spending money and they're not happy.
Yeah.
So you want somebody that makes them feel comfortable for being in there. And that salesperson, I've had some shops get away from the actual service advisor experience and they want a person who's maybe in the hospitality.
Yeah.
That's not afraid to talk to people, not afraid to talk about issues, to deal with things head on. And you feel an energy with some of these service advisors, and I'll have a recruiter call me and say, I've got a good one. They're just so easy to talk to and so personable, and they want to learn the industry. And like, okay, so I'll send them over, and the shop owner will call and go, wow, they were easy to talk with. They seemed coachable.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But they've got to start from the very beginning. These are the questions you have to ask. Are you okay multitasking? Are you okay with driving the ship?
Yeah.
Or the bus or whatever you want to say. But service advisor, it's a special person that can get out there and make the entire difference to that shop.
Yeah. It is the most I catch some flack for it because when we talk in the industry about I need this training, technicians need more training, and I put my head up and go, I've been able to fix a lot of cars without necessarily getting a ton of training, but I have run into countless service advisors that need so much more training, and I'm not talking about understanding how the car works. I've had employers who are like, I want them to understand what all the parts do. No. I want them to understand that when the customer comes in, they have to be, empathetic to understanding and be able to relate to the discomfort and how they feel. But I need them to not be to that level where they're emotionally discounting, trying to give money back, trying to make the price as low as possible because that's what they think the customer, that's what they need. That may seem like to you when you're talking to them that must be the solution, but it's not. No. We need to give them the best repair that we can give them. Price then doesn't even fall into the top 3 of what they're looking for. So we have to be training our advisors with good coaches and good people, empower them and say, this isn't about, making them your friend and avoiding the easy conversation, the hard conversation. Unfortunately, you're giving more bad news than you are good news.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be comfortable with that dynamic. If giving people bad news makes you uncomfortable, don't sign up to be in this customer service realm because you're not going to enjoy it. It's the one thing that people, you can go have a bad experience at the restaurant, and if you smile your way through it, they'll probably still come back as a waitress, as an example, right? I'm comparing the waitress to the thing. If you come in here and you think you're doing the right thing by shaving, $300 off the estimate and putting on a cheaper part or allowing the customer to start to dictate the process, and then the car breaks down 6 months later because you put on a really crappy AC compressor, they will not remember that you were trying to do their best interest and save them money. They are going to be mad and feel ripped off. That's shop owner and service advisor, because a lot of the times that hat's worn by both, right? Shop owner is oftentimes running service. You got to get that out of your head that this is about trying to do it cheap. And I worked with some that, like, the advisor did not want to have hard conversations. Well, if you put your technician in the backward, they're expected to, like, make, chicken salad out of chicken shit, because the parts that you want to put on are, you're asking for a divide to develop between your technician and your advisor. Nobody then gets along because I want to do it at this level. You want to do it at this level too, but you can't do it at this level because your sympathy carries it. It gets in the way. Don't do it.
I think they need to ask the questions again of, okay, we see today your brakes we've got to replace those. We know your AC is going to go out in the next couple months. Why don't we set up an appointment for you next month? And this is roughly what the cost is going to be. Prepare them. Give them options.
Yeah.
But you have to be honest and upfront of saying this is what's going to go wrong with your car.
Yeah.
Too many times I hear about service advisors, well, they only came in for this. They don't want to hear it. Again, that causes problems down the road when that vehicle breaks down. They may not have the money now, but if they know, hey, I've got 2 or 3 months, they can plan for that.
Yeah.
Give them, financing options or whatever it may be.
Exactly.
But at least inform them. If you inform them, they're the ones who have the right to make the decision. But don't make the decision for them.
And informing is not just saying, oh, hey, by the way,
right,
when we did your oil change, we noticed your brakes are getting low. You're going to need to think about brakes in the next 3 months, because the customer's like in one ear and out the other. Because if it wasn't presented to me as like a number amount, I'm not thinking about it, because I'm just the last $200 extra that I had, I'm paying for this oil change right now today, and I go on with life. But if you follow that 300% rule that we talk about it, and you table it and you present it to them, now it becomes something that they schedule and plan and expect. It doesn't catch them, because if you don't give them that, in 4 months' time, when the brakes are sounding awful, they're going to whip in and go, why didn't you tell me my brakes were so bad? Well, I did. I just mentioned it next time. I don't remember that. But if they have a piece of paper or an email or something that says, within 6 months, expect a price amount of this, they're planning for that. They're expecting it. It doesn't catch them off guard. And that helps because, how do I say this? I don't want them going to my competition. I want to be their only service provider, and they know that they have an expectation they're going to come to me. If all of a sudden they're out of town and they're on a road trip and their brakes start to make noise, if you think people won't pull over and get that handled immediately because they don't want to drive down the rest of the summer freeway trip, they will. And then you're like, you lost the sale, because instead of being a true advocate for them and saying, hey, guess what? This needs to be done before, you just, in passing in the conversation, mentioned it.
Yeah.
That's not true advocacy for our customer or our car.
You think about it. When we go to the doctor, dentist, wherever, they always schedule the next appointment.
Oh, always.
Always.
When I take my dog into the groomer,
yes,
they always schedule the next appointment.
Yep.
Why in the auto care do we not do that?
Because we're scared to, 100%. But it's I don't want to be upsold. This is not upsell. This is, unfortunately, cars are a wonderful invention that are in a constant state of decay and wearing out. So you love this car. We want you to love this car. We want you to have a nice, reliable, safe vehicle. Unfortunately, that means that we can kind of look at it and go, this is the next foreseeable thing that is going to happen, right? The tires that are low now are going to be lower in 6 months, or the ball joint that's a little bit of play right now, in 6 months or a couple potholes later is going to be a lot more play. We need you to be aware that this is the thing that you need to be budgeting for. Everybody, and see, what's always been my rub is everybody goes, the customers don't have the money for it. Some don't, true. But there's a realm out there that shows that the customer, when it gets to be 3 years old, 5 years old, or whatever, and they're just about done making payments on it, and we hit them with a repair bill that's all the stuff that needs to be done, they just go and get another car and make payments on it. We know in an economic world, that's not smart. I'm not saying it's wrong for everybody. If you have the means, go for it. But when we all of a sudden tell ourselves and believe that for the last 5 years, they don't have the money, they found money to replace the car. That could have been your money on the repair side. I don't want to see salesmen thrive, as crazy as that sounds where I work, right? Because I work. But I want to see service. I want to see technicians make money. I want to see shops make money. You don't do that unless you truly advocate for them and say, this is something to be expected. Don't just put gas in it and drive it. There's much more to that. oh, I don't want to be upsold. We're not upselling. Any closing thoughts, guys?
Oh man, this has been great. This is my first podcast I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah. So I was kind of had no expectation, but I'm glad we did it. It was a great conversation, and I actually learned a lot too.
So one little advice that you can give to the people that are going to contact Promotive, what would it be?
Oh man, a little bit of advice. Indeed is not the only thing out there. Okay, I think everybody agrees. Well, 99% of people agree it sucks.
Yeah.
It's hard to use. It sucks.
Yeah.
But really the big thing with Promotive is we're putting the best people in front of you, the shop owner, to make a decision. And on the technician side, we're just helping you out.
Yeah.
We're the helping hand. You know, we'll get you to the spot you need to be to find that forever home.
Stacey, same question.
I just think we're so passionate about this industry, all of us. I hope when you talk to anybody from Promotive, you can feel our energy, our drive, our passion, because we just want to make a difference out there. We want to change technicians' lives for the better, and we want it to free up the shop owner's time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so important, and we're just grateful to be here.
Yeah, 100%. I appreciate the heck out of Promotive. I don't always. Sometimes it's busy and chaotic to reach out and say hello to everybody once in a while, and I mean to do better with that. But I can't thank you enough for how important you guys are to what I'm trying to do, and I'm blessed to have you guys in my corner. It means so much to me. I don't just align myself with just anybody, right? I want to align myself with people that have the same kind of goals and mission, is to make this industry better. And if you have any kind of questions or need help, reach out to Promotive, and they will help you as best as they can. Try and give you the next place to go in life. As a technician, service advisor, any of those positions that we know and love in this industry, reach out to them. They can help you with all kinds of things. So thank you, everybody, for listening today. Thank you, guys. Great guest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope to see you again. I'll see you at SEMA, I hope.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll be there.
Awesome.
Yes.
Look forward to it, guys.
All right.